As promised, it is time for a 7-round Dallas Cowboys mock draft. We won't do too many draft videos. Kind of felt like now was a good time with how early the Packers draft pick is, frankly. If you want more draft videos, maybe not every single day or every single week, but just as we get further along in the season, now is your chance to vote if you do or do not. Y for yes, N for no. It is time for a 2026 NFL mock draft for the Dallas Cowboys. They're 3-5-1. They got Monday Night Football. I think it's a decent time to do it. Of note, this is based on the current NFL draft order going into Week 11 of the NFL, Week 12 of college football. Look, the reality is right now, all of the mock draft sims are broken. None of them are quite fully updated the way they need to, and they're kind of always broken to an extent because of the difference between what us fans and media know versus what the NFL teams actually know. I tried to make them a little bit less broken with not taking the guy that has no business falling to me in the 7th round, which is a top 75 pick. I tried to avoid that. I am limited to an extent by what the PFF mock draft sim allows me to do. Of note, I also kind of changed some of the draft picks relative to the PFF mock draft sim. As it sits right now, the Cowboys should get 2 5th-round comp picks. They did not have one of those on there, and I believe the PFF sim also has the wrong 7th-round pick. As part of the Cowboys trades they've made lately. So I did adjust a little bit and just, paused it and figured out who was available, who was not available. So do keep that in mind. We'll do all 7 rounds, 2 firsts, a 4th, 3 5s, and a 7th rounder right now for the Dallas Cowboys. I simmed the first 11 picks, and we'll go kind of rapid fire here. Ruben Bain off the board. Doubt he gets to the Cowboys there anyway. Fernando Mendoza goes. You'll want quarterbacks to go in real life. Caleb Downs goes to the Giants, so if he's there, the answer is yes. I don't know if he's going to be there, but boy, wouldn't it be nice. Same with Arvell Reese, who I think he might be number 1 right now, but whatever. He goes 4 to the Browns. I don't know if Dante Moore is going to go pro. More quarterbacks, the better, though, for the Cowboys. We want to push some good players down. Ty Simpson goes number 6. Back-to-back Clemson players then. Number 7, number 8, it's TJ Parker and Peter Woods. I think Parker at 7 is a little bit rich with the way he's played so far, but hey, thank you. The Bengals take the Jeremiah Love conversation out of my hands, which, hey, it might be the pick at 12 if he somehow gets there, and just given the way this class shakes out. Jermon McCoy is a wild card. He hasn't played this year, but he's really good. Then Jordan Tyson, which I actually love a lot in real life, Arizona State to Arizona at number 11. So pick 12. Couple notable players on the board. First off, all the offensive linemen are there. If you want a new right tackle, Spencer Fano's there. Kenyon Sadiq is very high in the PFF sim, but I'm not taking a tight end in round 1. I like Mansour Delane a lot, even maybe more so than Avion Terrell, but we'll talk about him in a little bit. It came down to the 2 edge rushers for me, Keldric, Faulk, and David Bailey. I'm going to take Faulk over Bailey, not because I don't think Bailey is a great prospect in his own right, but I think for what the Cowboys need, what they prefer, and what I think the upside is on all 3 downs, Faulk offers more. This is not a stat sheet pick. If you're just going based on the stat sheet, you're going to take David Bailey because he gets more pressures, because he gets more sacks. But we have to consider what Faulk is being asked to do in the Auburn defense. Of note, by the way, he's actually 4th on Dane Brugler's midseason update. David Bailey is 14. I don't think 4 is as high as I would have Faulk, but he's got a lot of the traits that you covet. I think fits really well with Donovan Ezeraku long-term as an edge piece. He's kind of asked to almost play 5 technique at times for Auburn, which I don't think is the best way to deploy him, frankly, but he's 6'6", probably closer to 270, has the arm length the Cowboys seem to always covet. Very powerful player. I think fits super well with Donovan Ezeraku. Also one of the youngest players in the class. The traits and the upside with the flashes that are there on tape, even if the stats aren't necessarily there, super intriguing. Now, if you want David Bailey, I get it. And if Faulk wasn't there, I would have taken Bailey over TJ Parker, for example. Pick a defensive end to take in round 1. KF for Keldric Faulk, DB for David Bailey. Notable picks then. 14, well, there's the ability to the Minnesota Vikings. Spencer Fano to Houston. Avion Terrell off the board to the Chiefs at number 17. Cassius Howell, who arm length concerns are real, but he's a very fun player. Caleb Banks at 19 was super rich for me, but hey, that's fine. So notables on the board. Look, I would really like Mansour Delane. He's a lot of what I like in a cornerback prospect, despite not having the measurables. Both top linebackers are there. Also, Dane's top linebackers, not Anthony Hill Jr., did not make Dane's top 50. Feels like it's worth mentioning, given how plugged in Dane is. 2 tackles here, Kadyn Proctor and Francis Mauigoa. I'm going to take Mauigoa over Kadyn Proctor, even though I think you might be able to argue the traits are a little bit higher for Proctor. Although it's like Mauigoa's got bad traits either. Former 5-star recruit, day 1 starter at right tackle for the Miami Hurricanes. Some think he might be better at guard, but I think he is a plug-and-play option on the right side of the offensive line. Hasn't gotten beat very much in pass protection, is a really powerful run blocker as well. There is not a, Joe Alt, even a Rashawn Slater level prospect among the offensive linemen. If I can get Mauigoa at 21 as the second lineman off the board ahead of guys like Proctor, etc., that's super intriguing to me. And I think I get it if you don't want to spend a first-round pick on another offensive lineman. We know how the Cowboys operate. If and when they cut Terrence Steele, feels like that is very much in the cards in round 1. Didn't do trades in this mock draft. We'll do that at a different time. We'll trade down from that other Packers pick and have some fun. That's in the future. That's in the future. Let's say the draft plays out this way. Mauigoa and Proctor are there. Proctor's, I get a little too many Evan Neal vibes right now. Pick your offensive tackle. FM for Francis Mauigoa, KP for Kadyn Proctor. All right, I'm going to kind of go against what I just said previously. F the measurables. Just take the damn good player for a couple of these picks here in a row. D'Angelo Pons is one of my favorite prospects at corner in this year's class. I think he's only a junior. Undersized corner. He's played outside in both for James Madison and Indiana. Given his lack of size, could very well move inside of the nickel. I don't know what the arm length is. If it's not like 31 inches or close to it, you can probably cross him off the Cowboys board. But all he does is make plays. He is a consistent playmaker, and which you don't really have enough of right now on this team, I think he's got that dog in him in kind of the same way Jordan Lewis had. He'll tackle. He'll get involved. 34 tackles this year, 3 TFLs from an outside corner spot for the most part is pretty damn impressive. Doesn't get beat very much in coverage. Back-to-back years now, 2025, 2024. Super low yards. Has as many pick sixes as touchdowns allowed in the last 2 years for the Hoosiers. I don't know if he actually falls to the top of round 4, but NFL are sizists, and if he does, just take the scrappy, undersized corner. Those guys actually have a kind of high hit rate in the NFL. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better on Prize Picks. Weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. Keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. It is the only app to offer stacks, so you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Josh Allen pass yards, rush yards, Lamar pass yards. Maybe not rush yards for Lamar. He's not running as much coming off the hamstring, but still, point stands. This was producer Aiden's 2-pick power play. Brock Bowers and Javonte Williams more than on their rushing for Javonte and receiving for Brock Bowers. Prize Picks, it's up to you how you play. You can always choose the flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. You need at least 3 picks, though, to do that one. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. I know many of you are going to like this pick because you've asked about him on live shows, and you're right to ask about him. Jacob Rodriguez. Let's just take the good football players sometimes. He's not going to win any height, weight, speed tests. He's listed at 6'1", 235. He might be a bit closer to like 6 foot 230, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't think he's going to be running any Devin White 40-yard dashes these days. But he's seemingly always in the right spot around the football. Always where he needs to be. He'll make an impact in the passing game. He'll make an impact in the run game. I'll check and do the final numbers. I would assume when the draft comes around, I'm going to have a higher grade than Jacob Rodriguez than an early-ish 5th-round pick. Is worth mentioning Dane Brugler, reading one of his pieces, made the comment, Rodriguez didn't have that many draftable grades going into the year. I don't really understand that. Give me the good player, and Jacob Rodriguez certainly fits that mold. Let's have some fun, because I do think double dipping at linebacker and or edge makes sense for the Cowboys, given some depth under contract concerns there. I don't honestly know what to make and what to do with Harold Perkins. He has had some of his best years rushing the passer, sometimes from a linebacker spot as almost a spy. But he's not big enough to be an every down edge. I mean, 6'1", 222, the listed size, by the way, is honestly closer to safety than it is edge rusher. But he's not particularly great in coverage. There are times the instincts aren't always there. He's just a tweener, and my concern is he just ends up being like what Isaiah Simmons has been, where LSU gives him like that star overhang role, which doesn't really exist in the NFL, and he can't play nickel corner, obviously. But maybe your worst case scenario is with the way the kicking game has changed, maybe he's just one of your good special teams players. And mid-fifth, late fifth, that's not that bad of an outcome. And you see if your defensive coordinator can have some fun moving him around in a variety of packages. Cowboys Report is free, and it always will be. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out on any of our videos, draft or non-draft. Hit that sub button for me right now. Let's get another running back in here just to add some depth, a bigger body. Le'Veon Moss out of A&M. I think he's a very talented player. Injuries, he's never played a full season for the Aggies, and his offseason arrests for disorderly conduct are red flags. Cowboys typically like 6-foot-tall running backs. They did break their trend for Jaden Blue, but he has good size there at 210 pounds. Hasn't been crazy involved because he's missed time with injuries, but he's been efficient and effective when he's had the ball. And I will say this running back class in general, especially once you get past like the Notre Dame guys and Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, it's not that strong of a group. And maybe the injury stuff can help Moss slide down to you in a class that maybe you're better off adding another veteran in free agency. I would have loved to have taken a safety earlier. I just didn't. The guys all went before the first 4 rounds. So when we do the trade down mock draft, you will have a safety, I promise you. Michael Taffe out of Texas. Super high PFF grades. Probably a bit deceptive of like how impactful he truly is. But he's experienced. Has started a ton of games for Texas. It's not actually in the PFF sim, which is super weird. So I kind of I always cross-check with the Pro Football Network sim, and he was there in the 7th round. So seems fair. Again, it's weird. It's November. It's going to happen. Multi-year starter for the Longhorns. I am curious just how well he tests athletically, but I clearly someone that Texas has trusted. Injuries, bit of an issue right now, but we'll see if and when he ends up making his return. So the Cowboys draft recap here. Keldric Faulk in round 1, the edge out of Auburn. Francis Mauigoa, the tackle out of Miami. D'Angelo Pons, cornerback out of Indiana. The defensive run continues with a pair of linebackers, Jacob Rodriguez, and then almost athlete Harold Perkins out of LSU. Le'Veon Moss, the running back from A&M, and Texas safety Michael Taffe to wrap things up, I should say, in the 7th round of this mock draft. So be honest with me. Grade it. I never get A's on these. I always get like B's or C's because like there's one pick in the 5th round someone likes and they refuse to get an A. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. Grade the Cowboys mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F.